advocates of the globe in this respect. They'll say there's a force holding the gas here, that's why it doesn't fill the space. And they'll lead you to the belief that gravity is the force holding gas in violation of natural law, when mass does not attract mass and gravity is not a force.
Literally, it's not a force.
Hope that's clear.
Made that pretty clear.
They need an R value to get it, and they don't have that.
School books say 93 million miles away. Most of the people in the world agree with this 93 million mile sun.
Yeah, as we were talking about in the pre-show, I actually saw a comment from Conspiracy Cats who used that argument from consensus nonsense as a defence. As long as the majority of the world are behind me in my belief of a sphere, it's down to you to prove otherwise. Well, no. In this respect, we can prove otherwise, because that distance at 93 million miles is based on R. And then that is superimposed onto Venus, so that they can get the scaling values from Kepler's third law.
Yeah, let me just address that. So if somebody appeals to consensus for the nature or the reality of the world in which we live, that is a fallacy. Appealing to consensus is a fallacy. The burden of proof, let's be really clear, it's on the one that makes the positive assertion, the one that makes the claim. The claim is we live on a sphere. That is the positive claim. We don't have to make our own model to be able to disprove that. We just need to demonstrate that there's no curvature. We don't have to redefine the textbooks. We just have to say that the textbooks are wrong, which is all we do. So let's just be clear on who's got the burden of proof. It is not us, it is them. Consensus reality is not the real world.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone realistically prove that there is no curve.
That's a negative statement. You've not realistically seen anybody prove there is not. My bad. I left a pause. Hello? Don't just start talking the minute I start responding. Hello?
Yeah, it was, I don't know why I stopped. I was going to ask if you had any proof that there is no curve, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I heard you the first time I was responding. This time, shut your mouth when I respond. It's fairly straightforward. That means don't talk when I talk. That is a negative statement. So you're reversing the burden of proof and asking me to prove there isn't curve when you assume there is. It's your positive claim that was just explained 2 minutes ago by Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior. It's your positive claim, so you're going to say, well, it's down to you to prove there isn't? It's a burden of proof reversal fallacy, you clown.
And just to be clear, a positive claim can't be seen as a negative claim. It's not like gravity where you can think it's a force. It is the positive claim. It is not the negative claim.
Yeah, meanwhile, that's a positive claim from you, my friend. So any evidence of Earth curvature, that's a positive claim that I'm asking him to now prove as his positive claim.
Was he saying he never seen any curvature, or he never seen any proof?
I've never seen anybody disprove the curve, is what he's saying. Is he even still here? Is he vanished?
Yeah, still here.
So, evidence of Earth curvature, my friend.
There's plenty. You always call it fake.
Come again?
There's plenty of evidence, but all flat earthers just call it fake. So,
do you want to present some? Rather than assuming our response to something which you've now interrupted while I clarify again. I leave a pause. Yeah? So this is me talking, not you. So, rather than telling us there's loads and we'll deny it, that would be to assume we'll deny it. Stereotyping fallacy. Second fallacy you've used so far. So, still your positive claim. You say there's loads of evidence. Let's see what you've got.
The entirety of NASA.
Oh, really? NASA?
Yeah.
So, NASA?
Yes, NASA.
Operating from space?
Literally the whole point.
Yeah, you don't need to repeat it. We heard, we're not deaf. So while I'm responding, you don't need to repeat that which I am responding to. Do you understand that? You seem slow.
I understand.
Yeah, you don't need to say, yeah, NASA through me while I'm responding. I'm not deaf. Thank you. So NASA operate in a vacuum of the sky. If that was the case, all of the gas pressure which you're currently breathing would vacate into that area. We'd all be dead. The area they operate in is a second law of thermodynamics violation. There is no vacuum of the sky to take pictures from. What are you babbling about?
Some bromine, and in the other, I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy.
So, outer space is the second law of thermodynamics violation. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill that space. Ergo, all pictures from that region are fake. Automatically fake. Not because I'm hand-waving them, because I'm a flat earther as you anticipated, but by way of a natural law called the second law of thermodynamics. Do you understand what I have said?
Yeah, I understand what you have said.
Do you have any rebuttal to that?
Not really, as I'm not educated on the second law of thermodynamics, so I don't want to discuss this and just sound like an idiot.
Oh, let me summarise. It's entropy. For example, high pressure to low pressure. You understand that high pressure flows to low pressure?
Yeah.
You understand that? Do you understand that you are currently breathing a high pressure gas?
Yeah.
Do you understand that the claim of the pictures that you said had been taken by NASA from space would be in a region 10 to the minus 17 torr? That would be a very, 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 very low pressure. And entropy would dictate that the high pressure we're breathing would flow to that low pressure. It's called entropy, summarised in the law called the second law of thermodynamics. So you understand that the high pressure gas would flow to the low pressure vacuum then?
Yes, I understand that.
So no pictures from space then. So I'll ask again, why would it be the case that you would assert that everything that NASA have provided from Narnia, a place that isn't real, would affirm your belief in a sphere Earth, when the area they're claiming to take pictures from it isn't real, it's fake, it doesn't exist, it violates natural law? So no pictures from space. So why would you believe in Earth curve when you've got pictures from a fake place? What kind of idiot believes that? I'm asking, it's not rhetorical.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of a response. If I wasn't educated on the subject, then how would I know they would fake those pictures?
But you told me that you would expect me to deny it as being fake, and I've given you a second law of thermodynamics violation as your religion of the sky that NASA give you pictures from, and I'm asking why you believe that.
Well, I don't know any reason as to why I shouldn't believe that.
Because it violates the second law of thermodynamics. High pressure gas moves to low pressure by way of an entropy increase. That's the second time I've explained it to you. Do you still think you've got no reason to disbelieve that the Narnia area above your head is a vacuum where they take pictures from, somewhere you've never been, but the men in suits have been to heaven to take pictures from a violation of natural law? Third time I've told you, you've got a reason to disbelieve it now. It violates natural law. Still, just that's it, shut down, silence. Your last response is you don't have a reason to disbelieve what NASA say. You do. It's a violation of natural law. Nothing? Is that the end of it then? Shut down completely. Well, nice that you're not interrupting me. So, to conclude, outer space is fake. There are absolutely no pictures of Earth as a sphere from a place that doesn't exist. The sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, as asserted, to be a place you can take pictures from, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. We'd all be dead. It would be 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level. We wouldn't be breathing high pressure gas. It would fill the space. Ergo, space isn't a space for gas to fill. It would have filled it.
Could I respectfully ask for a rebuttal to that? If silence isn't really a rebuttal, it's just ignorance, can we have a response? Like, do you think that gas pressure can coexist next to a vacuum without pushing into it by virtue of the force that's present called pressure? Do you think that that can choose not to do that?
All I heard at the start of this was a concession straight away by the gentleman. He admitted he had no knowledge and didn't understand it.
I was gonna say that too. He admitted, like, oh, I never knew that. And then when you asked him, do you still believe it? He's like, I had no reason not to believe, but I think your explanation kind of maybe silenced him, because he's like, wow, I never thought about that. Maybe something clicked. So I don't know.
Isn't this the moment that you become a flat earther, when you realize that you have nothing to rebut and everything you're saying makes sense? It seems like this is a turning point for him, maybe.
Well, that's when the pain kicks in.
Yes, Stag. This is the metaphorical equivalent of Morpheus sat in front of Neo with two pills. In one hand, I have a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum that you thought proved Earth was a sphere. Now, you can take the red pill and believe that the sky is still a vacuum, resulting in cognitive pain from now until the reason you have relinquished it and ignored it is clear to you. Or you can take the blue pill and realise that everything about that area that you thought was proving Earth's sphere is actually a lie akin to Narnia. Which pill? Red? Pain. Blue? Well, might be a bit of relief, might be a bit of a shock, but eventually, definitely not pain at the end of the blue pill.
You got the colors wrong.
Doesn't matter.
So Anthony and I are colourblind. I don't know what bloody...
Can we have a response? Can we have I want to hear what his rebuttal is.
I don't actually have a rebuttal. I'm just not really educated, so I came here to become more educated on this subject.
Did you say I have or had no reason to disbelieve? Because my tone would have been different depending on which one you said. I think I misheard.
I had.
Oh, I would have adjusted my tone if I'd have heard it in past tense. So my bad, my tone would have been a lot less severe. Sorry.
So if you don't have a rebuttal, does that mean that then you realise that and accept that we're breathing pressure that's supposed to exist next to a vacuum, but it would push into it if that was really the case? And the only way that that's possible is if we're in a container of some kind. Now, that doesn't mean I know what the container is, in the same way that I don't know what cow died when I'm eating the burger on the plate with my chips. But I do know that there was at some point a cow somewhere in a field eating fodder. We're breathing something, right? So the sky can't be a vacuum. We're not looking into the deep blackness of space thinking that it's the solar system. Something else must be going on. Do you now accept that?
Yeah, I'm just going to take your word for it at the moment until I do some more research into it.
Best answer you could have given.
Perfect.
Don't even take our word for it. Would have been no until I confirm this from my own best ability. Would have been an even better answer. But yeah, based on our authority in terms of our statements, I would assume you go, okay, fine, I'll take that as read for now until I confirm it. That's just as good an answer. But yeah, check it out. Go and read up on entropy.
So what I can do is I can recommend somewhere really good to go to check what we're saying is true. His name's Conspiracy Cats, and he's a physics teacher in a high school. When you go and ask him that question, he will run away. He will literally run away because he hasn't got an answer for it.
It's probably a commonly asked question. How would gravity work on a flat Earth?
Great. Gravity is defined, and we know what causes it by Einstein in 1915. It is the current position in physics today. It's defined as an effect, and that effect is caused by the uneven distribution of mass. Now, the effect of gravity is, in its simplest terms, an illusion, right? It's the perception of acceleration when there isn't actually acceleration. So we perceive an acceleration, but it's not an actual one. So in other words, it's an illusion. Now, that's what gravity is defined as. So gravity can't act on something. It is the result of being acted on by mass. That's all gravity is. So it doesn't explain why the atmosphere is not pushing into the vacuum, unfortunately. Unless Einstein's wrong, of course.
Well done. Anthony's taking it straight to the advanced pseudo-force space of Einsteinian. What do you think gravity is before you get into the depths that Anthony has? What do you perceive gravity to be? When you say gravity,
The force that pulls.
A force that pulls. Perfect. So it would be the thing.
Center of the Earth.
Yeah. So
well,
the force.
I got told it was this.
Yeah. Okay. So the force that pulls things to the center of the Earth. Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, literally, it's not a force.
You're describing something that's 106 years out of date. That would be Reverend John Michel, C.V. Boys, and Cavendish gravity, which is falsely ascribed to Newton.
So the thing about Newton's laws, you can't take it literally, but Newton himself didn't.
So it's under the banner of Newtonian gravity. That's what you're describing. The force of gravity being Newtonian 106-year out-of-date gravity, devised by Reverend John Michel, C.V. Boys, and Cavendish. Cavendish might be one of the names you've heard of because of the Cavendish quasi-experiment that they sometimes punt to assert mass attracts mass. Would you assume that if I'm holding something with mass in my left hand now and I drop it, it will go towards the ground then?
Yes.
Oh, I've let it go and it's gone to the ceiling. My helium balloon. What about if I boil a kettle? Which way will the steam go?
It would go up.
Not down towards the centre. So you're telling me steam doesn't have mass? So that's debunked. It's 106 years out of date. Mass doesn't attract mass. It's debunked by gas. Going in completely opposite direction, unbonded, And should it encounter the ground, because it happens to be going down, it'll bounce straight off it and go in the opposite direction because it's got an elastic collision going on. So no, mass doesn't attract mass. That's 106 years out of date. Most people are taught that at a high school level and never go on to university to be told, actually, no, that's actually out of date by 106 years. And then have Antony's description of Einsteinian bending of space-time gravity detailed to them to relinquish you of your misapprehension that mass attracts mass. It doesn't. Let go of a helium balloon or watch steam go up to the clouds and then condense and come back down as the more dense form of water in rain. But the steam, the gas, went up and didn't come back down because mass attracts mass. You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Just one more thing for this guy. Put it out to people who are more advanced advocates of the globe in this respect. They'll say there's a force holding the gas here, that's why it doesn't fill the space. And they'll lead you to the belief that gravity is the force holding gas in violation of natural law, when mass does not attract mass and gravity is not a force. Hope that's clear.
Made that pretty clear.
Perfect. What was the other guy's question?